Okay, great challenge this week. A really, really good football team coming to our place. I have a ton of respect for Coach Shanahan, his coaches, his staff, who I know a lot of his coaches. They do a great job. Really talented roster. They're playing good football, so we have to meet this challenge. It's a unique challenge in some of the things they do schematically. So we have to have a great work week. Obviously, it's a different work week just with Thanksgiving tomorrow, and we'll move some meetings around and that type of thing. But have to have a really great work week this week before we head down to the stadium in front of our fans, which is we're very excited about that part. So with that, I'll take any questions.
With Robert there now back as the defensive coordinator, where has he kind of put his imprint back on that defense, and what is what's kind of the teaching points with Shedeur this week to prepare him for that?
Coach Sala does an amazing job. I've competed against Coach Sala when he was at the Niners the first time. When he was at the Jets, obviously going up against him now. He's an excellent football coach from the X's and O's, but this defense and Coach Sala's system and our system share a lot of DNA. Their defensive line coach, Chris Kuceric, who does an outstanding job, was with Coach Schwartz when they were in Detroit together. So there's a lot of things that they do similar. And I'd say the number one thing that I think you'd see on tape is how hard their defense plays and how relentless their defense plays. And that's something that's obviously part of both teams' defensive identity.
How much work and what was the work that went into Shedeur eliminating those deep lost sacks?
Yeah, I thought he did a great job. The protection plan was really solid. We really had one sack for -3 yards on a coverage sack. We went max protection, didn't really have any underneath options, moved forward in the pocket with great ball security. So that's a great lesson for the young quarterback. And we took a sack, but it was just for -3. We maintained possession of the ball. He had great ball security throughout that. But it only you have great success over the course of a game by everybody being on the same page. That's the quarterback and how he's operating. That's the offensive line and who they're blocking. Tight ends and running backs are involved. Obviously, people getting open. So I thought that was a really, really strong outing for Shedeur in his first start to just have one sack.
Coaching to him to go over former games and say,
oh, sure. We talk about a lot in that quarterback room, and certainly had a lot of discussions with all the quarterbacks in Shedeur on just our pocket movement, our pocket mechanics. When you have players that can escape the pocket and make big plays down the field, naturally there are going to be times where you then expose yourself to a pass rush. So that balance of finding the completions when they're there and you can make plays from the pocket, and then also still having that ability to break the pocket, break contain, move up in the pocket, all those type of things where some big plays lie when you do that.
The 49ers are, I think, last in the NFL in sacks right now, and obviously Nick Bosa's not out there, Fred Warner's not out there. What does that mean in terms of their ability to get pressure and rush the passer?
Yeah, they still do an outstanding job. They have rushers that can win one-on-ones. They have a good pressure package on third down, and they are relentless. Just talking earlier about how this team plays, they're relentless. So you have to match their intensity really throughout the game.
McCaffrey that gets the ball as much as he does. I mean, besides the talent aspect of it, how does the just volume challenge you guys?
Yeah, he's a unique player in this game, just the way he impacts the game and both the run and the pass. When he's running routes, he's a wide receiver. I really don't think there's a route he can't run. They could line him up anywhere. He could run any route. There's no run scheme that he can't run. So he's a huge challenge, having gone against him over the years. You try to limit him, you try to slow him down, but you also have to recognize this is a great player.
The fans are going to go crazy Sunday with Shedeur. Do you have to kind of harness his energy so he stays within the game?
I think he's always done a nice job of that. He's what we appreciate about all of our players is authenticity. He's the same guy every single day. Obviously on game day there's a juice that comes with that. There's an excitement that comes with that, but he's played that position for a long time. He knows how to make sure he keeps the main thing the main thing.
How much the 49ers use pre-snap motion? I think they're like second in the league. Just how much is that a point of emphasis for you guys on defense to make sure your eyes are kind of in the right place and you're not falling for certain things that they're trying to show you?
Yeah, it's a huge point of emphasis, and it's been a staple of what they do. That's something certainly when we played them a couple years back was what they do. Having played Miami recently, that's a big part of them as well. So there are schemes, there are offensive attacks that utilize pre-snap motion shift for a variety of reasons, but it's a huge point of emphasis for us on defense to stay true to our job, stay true to our reads, those type of things.
Why didn't you give Shador a game ball after the game? And I know you didn't give Dylan one either. Is it like you don't want to let rookies taste too much success too soon, or what was the
No,
policy?
I mean, every game you go into it, try and just highlight guys. Miles got a game ball. I thought it was probably pretty worthy. But you're just constantly trying to recognize your guys. We spent time this morning as well pointing out all of our guys and the jobs they did out. Point out Gage having a big punt return, which was huge for our team. Your D-line doesn't get 10 sacks unless the coverage is really good. Obviously, a rookie starting his first game on the road, getting a win is huge. So you acknowledge all that with your team.
Before Schwartz, before you hired Schwartz, he had successful record against Shanahan as coordinators, head coaches. And you shared that success in 2023 one game. So have you learned some of his trade secrets over the last 3 years?
I think that's honestly, Tony. I think it's probably overrated to think, and I understand the question, but there's really, really good coaches on both sides of the ball, and there's going to be moments where they got you, and there's going to be moments we get them, and there's always in between. But all those previous games, while we're watching that game and they're watching that game, those games don't really factor into this one.
When you saw Purdy a couple of years ago, he's still relatively young, still in that, bursting onto the scene. How has he changed as a quarterback, if at all? What have you noticed different about him now as you get ready to see him a second time?
Yeah, I think he's extremely talented, great decision maker, fast decision maker, very accurate, very, very good athlete, makes a ton of plays with his feet. We've studied a lot of his movement over the years on scramble drills. He's outstanding at extending plays, making plays with his feet. I think he's got really all the tools.
Numbers that weren't great early. You always said that you trusted Dylan Sampson and you wanted to get him more involved. Why were you so confident that it would eventually show up?
Yeah, I think there's been opportunities to get him involved. It hasn't exactly worked out. I think he's kind of got the short end of the stick. It feels like a few of his runs over the last few weeks, there's an unblocked player or whatever. And that's part of playing it when you don't get as much exposure. You don't get to get the next run and that type of thing. But I've seen him work. I've seen him out on the practice field since the spring. I know what type of player he is. He gives a different element to our attack when he's out there. So he's somebody that we feel really strongly about.
The Wildcat plays to Judkins. You've done it before, but he didn't do it at Ohio State. So did you guys go back to Mississippi, or how did that originate?
I don't recall, Tony, that – I mean, we got into it earlier in the season. We've done it over the years here, but wasn't whether he did it or not in college, felt pretty confident that we could get him up to speed on a lot of that. That's something that high school teams are doing quite a bit of, especially with the motion included with it. That's something that you see in high school games.
So it wasn't a case of a coach saying he was successful at Mississippi?
It was not, no. But, again, that's a every week type of conversation, whether you feel like it gives you an advantage. There are weeks that it doesn't. There are weeks that you work it and you don't get to it in a game. So it's really dependent on the opponent.
Something where you feel like you need to go away from it for a while. You could run it every week if the matchup.
Sure. Mm-hmm. I worked with Tony Sperano.
Going back to the similarities in the defenses, does that help Shador a little bit, considering he was going against the defense, running the scout team?
I think it's always helpful, and I think San Francisco will get a similar look from their scout team defense this week. Anytime you can have your players, when they're our scout team's trying to act like the 49ers and play the 49ers, and you're holding the guard. Anytime you can just tell them to play your defense, you're going to get a better look. So certainly I think the look will be better for the quarterbacks, and then just the built-up reps of going up against the scheme. Now, there are significant differences between the schemes. I think obviously the attack front is where we're similar. Coverages can be very different.
Shanahan's line Just how much more is that added to his game, and is it an added challenge with their offense?
It can be. I think it's so dependent on what they're trying to accomplish on a given play type. There are certain play types that have proven to be more successful under center than the shotgun. There's also a comfort level with the quarterback. There's so much that you can do from both. So I think it's just really dependent on what they're trying to lean into.
Winning AFC Defensive Player of the Week, and how nice is it for you guys that he just keeps playing as hard as he's playing and getting these accolades?
Yeah, I mean, they could hand that to him every week as far as I'm concerned. We've talked at length about Miles and deservedly so. And the thing I would point out, Mary Kay, and I keep saying it, and I hope someone's pointing it out, but just the run defense definitely gets less of the attention, but he's a well-rounded player. He's an elite player, but this is an elite, well-rounded player. It's not like he's just rushing the passer. He's playing the run. He's doing anything and everything to help this team.
Despite the unfortunate circumstances that led to Dylan not starting, how have you seen him already this week handle and sort of embrace more of that support role with Shador being the starter?
Yeah, our guys are great teammates. That's what I appreciate about the guys on this football team. You push each other, you pull each other when you need to. So he'll be in that backup role, and he'll do everything in his power to help this football team. Everything in his power to help Shador.
You said that about Miles against the run a bunch of times. Is that somewhere you've seen him make a big leap since you've been here?
Not necessarily. I just think the publicity of sacks gets so much attention, and I get it. But I admire a play where he sets the edge violently as much as finishing the quarterback on the ground.
Close. Do you expect him to play this week?
Close. I think we'll know more over the next couple of days.
Monday, the Panthers got 3 interceptions against Brock Purdy, but they didn't get, I think, any quarterback pressures against them. Obviously, this defense has been getting a lot of pressure in the backfield. Kind of, what does that pressure do on a quarterback that's been, kind of been mistake prone this season with the secondary?
Yeah, obviously they'll have their plan of attack. He does a great job of getting the ball out on time. We have to rush with discipline. We really have to have a focus of everybody doing their job. When we, as a defense, have 11 on the same page, everybody doing their job and doing it relentlessly, we feel good about our chances.
What makes McCaffrey so difficult to bring down? I think he leads the league in missed tackles this year.
Incredible contact balance, incredible ability to make the first man miss, can cut on a dime, runs with power, has a great feel for space and where he is and where the defenders are and where his blockers are. Okay, not going to see you guys tomorrow, so happy Thanksgiving, everybody.